How's it going? Today I'll be ranking all the stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 Stone Ocean from best to worst in real life situations. And as always, we're going off of the alphabetical order by starting off with burning down the house. Now this was Emporio's original stand, and here's the thing about this stand. It's very useful, but it's for a certain situation. You want to have a place to crash with your friends. If you're doing some illegal things, you want to hide something, this is a go-to stand. But this stand is very situational because you can't really move it anywhere else. It is literally just located in one place, and yeah, it's good. It's a secret spot, but the one problem is it was like in the middle of a jail. So it's like a so-so stand, you know. It's very good. It's got its pros a lot, but the cons I feel like are overweighing a little bit. But still, like, let's say if you can get this in a normal place outside of jail, then definitely give it an S tier. But mostly if it's like a jail type of place, then I guess even in jail, in life, shit happens, you know. You might go to jail or something, it will still work. And the only thing stopping it from being an S tier is its location, but still a dope ass stand nonetheless. Next up, we got another dope ass stand. I mean, we're on a roll here. We got Bohemian Rhapsody, and straight up give it an S. No, S doesn't do it justice. I'm gonna say beyond godly for this stand. It literally gives you anything. It does everything, whatever you wish, like whatever you can imagine, it will happen. So the only thing that limits this stand is just yourself, your imagination. In the right hands, this is a very good stand. In the wrong hands, it'll still be a good stand, but I can't really say what would happen to the rest of us. But this stand literally needs no explanation. It is just beyond godly. Up next, we got one of the coolest stands, and in my opinion, I think it is a top 2 contender in the coolest spot for Stone Ocean. We got Sea Moon. Now this motherfucker, he uses gravity. And not just like using it, you know, he does all sorts of things with gravity. Like if he touches you, he can inverse your like stomach, your abdomen, whatever there is, right? He is just way too useful. And the only thing that actually can counter a stand like this was like time stop, because it literally limits its abilities, but even then it can move in time stop. You know why? Because time and space are relative. Now I'm no physicist and I can't really get down to its principles, but I say this stand is very dope without a question. Now in a real life situation, I think this stand would literally be so useful in construction. I mean, just imagine you gotta do heavy lifting, no problem, he'll do it for you. Something is like stuck somewhere, he'll just use inverse and like get it out of there. Very useful. I'd say it's definitely, I'm not sure, I think I should add like a tier between beyond godly and A. Because, wait, let me just add one real quick. S, just the simple S. Because it's very useful, but it really doesn't compete with Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't think, like, spoilers, I don't think any of these stands is going to stand a chance against Bohemian Rhapsody, but we'll see. Next up, we got Diver Down. Now, you know, my boy Anasui, he is very cool, and the way he uses this stand, I'd say like the stand itself, it's very good, but the way Anasui was able to use it, it even made it better. This stand like sort of like glitzes between objects, which in part 3 it was stated that almost just any stand can do that, but apparently for Diver Down it's an additional ability. I don't know, but even then you can see this motherfucker mess people's organs up from the inside and without touching like the outside or anything. And I think doctors would really love a stand like this, you know, physicians, I don't know, people who deal with broken bones and stuff, they'd love a stand like this. So I'd say it definitely deserves a spot in A tier. Up next we got Dragon's Dream, and this stand is very useful. And I know at a certain point the word useful becomes so cliche, but I gotta say, stands have improved more towards their use in real life from part 3. onto the later parts. At this stand, what it basically does is it tells you its fortune. I guess your fortune with the way of directions. You know, you have to, I don't know, go somewhere and you will be fortunate. Some fortune is gonna rain down on you. You'll get lucky, and I don't know, man. This is meddling with fate itself, and I think getting good fortune and a navigator, a sort of like a GPS, that is a dope ass stand. And I sort of think that this also deserves a place in Beyond Godly, because real life, literally, you can just get everything you want with a stand like this, unless you're doing what it tells you to, you know, going to where you're supposed to go, you'll be rock solid. I mean, this is really, it deserves its spot in Beyond Godly. Up next, we got Foo Fighters, our best girl in the series. No debate for Stone Ocean, you know, for part 6. And Foo Fighters is like millions or billions or trillions of planktons coming up together, and they need to be hydrated all the time. And this stand, you can't really control it. The stand has a life of its own, and it can shoot. That's one thing it can do. But I really feel like it doesn't, aside from combat, being a companion, the stand doesn't do all that much in real life. If you really need a gun, just pick one up yourself. So say it can help you at situations, you know, helping you like a friend or getting you out of situations, but I wouldn't really say it is just too useful, you know, like such as these stands. So I'd say that it deserves a B tier spot, just cause, you know, Foo Fighters, but aside from that, it doesn't really do all that much in my opinion. Now we got Green Grass of Home. I'm very confused about this, and not confused, but I don't know how to rate this. What this stand basically did in part 6 is that it protected the green baby by shrinking everyone down. Whoever got closer and closer to the green baby, they would get shrink down, I guess, to an atom if they reached to a certain point, like if they reached close enough. And I guess this could be manipulated at some stuff, you know, if you want to carry something heavy, you could shrink it down, but then again, if it's really close to you, it will shrink down to, I don't know, even maybe down to an atom where you'll lose the item all by itself. And I really think the stand would be more of a disadvantage if fiends that you want to touch, or not just fiends, I think it only works on living things. I mean, if you're sitting with your friends and the moment they trying to get close to you, that kind of sound off. But still, we're just imagining, then yeah, you're gonna have short friends, very short, and yeah, I wouldn't say that is all too useful in real life. Yeah, I don't really think too highly of this stand, so a D tier I think is a deserved spot for this stand. Next up, we got another similar stand to Green Grass of Home, is Goo Goo Dolls, but the one thing that separates this from that is Goo Goo Dolls' shrinking ability is way more controlled, like you can choose who you want to shrink. I think that is very useful when it's controlled, obviously, because let's say you want to go to a bar, or you know, you want to get on a train or on a cruise, and you know, you're feeling cheap, you know, with your friends, you don't want to pay a whole fee for 5 or 6 people. You just pay for one, you know, you all chip in, and the rest of the people, they get shrunk down, and you pick them up, put them in a bag, I don't know, just put them in somewhere safe so they don't die, and you take them on the cruise, boom, you return them back to normal, and you got a free ride for 5 people. I think that is very useful, and you know, you can think of other situations like this as well. So I'd say it is sort of like an A tier, A B-ish tier, but no, I'm gonna say below A tier is a good spot for Goo Goo Dolls. Now we got one of the worst stands. I mean, there's bound to be one in every part, and this is Highway to Hell. And the only way this stand works is supposedly you're going to do self-harm, which is not advisable, but you'll do self-harm just so you inflict the same amount of damage to your victim. I mean, if you're feeling suicidal, or you want to take one out with you, I guess it would work, but other than that, there is complete trash. This just has no use whatsoever. But still, compared to what other stands would do to you, especially that one from part 4, this, it's still trash, but you know, compared to those, it is somewhat better. You know, you have the option of not doing something to yourself. So I guess that, or if someone inflicts damage to you, you know, a bully or something, well, you'll inflict the same amount of damage back. So maybe, okay, I maybe bump it up from one above F tier, you know, just being generous. Up next we got Jailhouse Lock, and I'd say this is one fucked up stand. And the reason why is, what you'll do to your victim is your victim will only remember 3 things. They're limited to just that. If they try to memorize a 4th thing, they'll forget the first. And this has caused Jolene many problems, and I think Jolene needed major plot armor just so she could defeat this sort of stand. I mean, it's a complete mindfuck, if anything. And in real life, this could have its uses, but I wouldn't say like come on, the average Joe does not have a sort of enemy that they want to torture them with something like this. So just so it has one use doesn't mean it's very useful IRL. And I think it is just below B tier, maybe even C tier. I think, yeah, C tier, because you could actually even get in a lot of trouble if someone sort of find out, but then again, they could become your next victim and forget it altogether. But still, I don't think this stand won't really get you much in real life, honestly. Next up we got Jumping Jack's Flash, and this stand is sort of like Sea Moon, but you know, definitely not on Sea Moon's level. What it does is it creates a zero gravity environment for its victim, which is, I don't know what happened with Araki in creating torture devices as stands in part 6, but unless you want to, you know, sort of torture or joke around with your friends, this stand wouldn't really work all too much. But if it sort of would have worked on non-living things, which we really didn't get to see that sort of stuff, it really just worked on living things, honestly, then it's hard to say just how much potential this stand got. Even so, people could use you like an elevator, you know, elevate them to somewhere and get paid like that. Or you could be like an easy transportation device for someone. So I wouldn't give this a bad rep, you know, it's not the worst kind of stand, but really not the best either. So a B tier should be fine for where it stands. Next up we got the Duplication glitch stand, Kiss. I mean, the best Showbro in part 6 has got this stand, and it is a duplication stand, 100% an S tier. You can duplicate anything. Just go to your nearest Ferrari or Lamborghini office, you know, go check out the cars and put a little sticker on that bad boy, and boom, you just got yourself a brand new car. And you can scam people with that. Look, I'm not advising you to do it, but there's really nothing stopping you, unless the sticker doesn't come off, which you could get pretty good places to hide that in cars, really. Then you got yourself a major duplication glitch. And for people who are struggling with fat loss, you know, they don't want to sort of gain weight, then they could also duplicate food. I mean, eat it halfway, pull out the sticker, oh no, but then it crashes though. Yeah, that is one major drawback for the stand, isn't it? Yeah, that is one major drawback that you should consider, because when you take off the sticker, the original and the copy would merge and crash into each other, sort of like D4C's ability, which I would probably get to that in future videos. Yeah, so from the get-go, this is like super good, but it really gets downgraded because of its merging ability. Like, if you get the sticker off, then shit's gonna be bad for you. But aside from that, scamming people is still just an option, as long as the sticker doesn't come out. And as for food, I mean, if you're gonna take out the sticker, well, goodbye to your stomach, I guess. So don't do that. Do not eat food with Kiss, you know. This stand is not the best one. But for other things, yeah, I definitely say as long as the sticker doesn't come off, it could be one of the best stands for real life uses. So I'm gonna give it an A tier, just as long as you use it in the correct manner. Up next we got Limp Bizkit, and this is the reanimation jutsu but majorly nerfed kind. You can resurrect the dead, but like as zombies, you know, not just fully resurrect them. You just make zombies. You can make armies, but on paper this stand is way too OP. But in the show we just saw how Hermes just kicked Boris Maxim's ass even with such a dope stand like this. So I think this stand really has a bad rep. Even with zombie corpses, if you can't really beat someone who has like a duplication glitch, which I wouldn't say the Kiss is the most battle ready stand. You know, it's not mostly suitable for one-on-one combat. It's more of like a support unit. But even this stand could beat such a stand like this, like Limp Bizkit. It's got a horrible rep, and making zombies, you know, it never ends up good in any case. Like, when was the last time you saw a movie or a TV show that featured zombies in a good way? Well, I haven't seen them, and if you got one, recommend it to me in the comments. So I'm gonna give this a D tier at best. Up next we got Made in Heaven, and this is just beyond godly. The stand is a literal reset button for the universe, and whenever you screw something up in your life, you have the option of correcting that. How good is that? And not only that, but you got like infinite speed. There's really nothing much to say. This stand literally beats Star Platinum. It is such a dope stand, not only for combat, but for real life as well. You got infinite speed, you can correct your mistakes. You're like the Flash. In a sort of way, you're definitely like the Flash. So it's like self-explanatory, you know? The whole point of the show was making it to heaven and, you know, deliver it. It was such a good stand. You just cannot say doesn't deserve beyond godly. Up next we got this Satellite Boy Manhattan Transfer, and such a situational stand. Like, it can detect stuff, but as long as you're not a former sniper who's now blind and you're looking for a way to lock onto your targets, it's not really a useful stand. I mean, it can find or detect people, but just how useful is that in real life? I'd say its C tier would be fine for the stand nonetheless. Then we got Marilyn Manson, which is another gambler stand. I think just Araki has like a sort of fetish or something that he likes gambler stands so much. Like, you could find one in almost every part. I guess it's a formula for success, I guess. And what this stand basically does is it catches you when you cheat and makes you pay for it. Basically, it gets his payments regardless. So unless you're a big time gambler that struggles with getting his money's worth, you know, when your opponent doesn't want to pay and you want to make them pay, or you want to catch them cheating, this could be the stand for you. Like, especially against poker masters, this stand could work really well, but then again, you could get screwed up big time. If the other person isn't actually cheating and beating your ass fair and square, then yeah, this stand really becomes useless. Nonetheless, I'd say most of the time, almost 99% of the time, big time poker players cheat. And if you can detect that and sort of get an advantage over them, then I think you could cash out with a stand like this. So A tier should be fine for it. Up next we got Planet Waves, and this bad boy just has a simple use. It attracts meteors from space, you know, even small, just small ones. We haven't seen anything too big in the show, you know, just small time meteorites that it tracks towards your enemies. You know, you can use it as projectiles, but in the show this really just worked as counterproductive. It can also hit you in the head, and I think playing with meteorites isn't a good idea unless you can like sort of get some mineral or some sort of expensive rock from space that you can cash out on. I don't think this stand has one too many uses, but even as a projectile, I think I mean, if you got good accuracy and good planning, then I think you could use it as a projectile, and you could also sell meteorites as a way of earning money. So I say B tier should be fine for this stand, nothing more, nothing less. Now we got Sky High. Now, Rikiel, I think, was the chillest son of Dio. Like, even Giorno had complications, so I'd say Rikiel was the chillest son, and his stand, well, I'd say it was the worst stand, honestly, amongst them. This was literally the worst stand. What it does is, it's another torture device, which Araki likes, and you suck the heat out of your victim. How useful is that supposed to be in real life? Unless you're going in for combat, this literally wouldn't have much of a use, so I'd say it definitely has C tier. It doesn't really, I mean, it won't hurt to have a stand like this, unlike these stands which are basically a liability. This doesn't have any benefits such as these stands, so I think C tier is the sweet spot for this stand, definitely. And now we get on to the star of the show, Stone Ocean, and I know you guys are going to chew me up for this, especially after seeing how Jolene was able to use this stand, but I think it is nothing more, not much more than just strings used correctly for fighting. So I'm gonna put it in here and I'm going to explain it like so. It's not really a stand that you can use as free space. It's not manipulating gravity. It's not duplicating something. You know, it's not resetting the whole goddamn universe or just manifesting anything that you'd imagine and make it real. You know, it's only sort of like good for combat, and its strings whenever you need some you could pull out. And definitely with the way Jolene used her stand, it really showed just how strong this stand can be, but still it doesn't really compare to the rest when it comes to a real life use. So I'm just gonna put that there. You guys could share your opinions, but I think it doesn't really have too much of a use. Now we got Survivor, and as proclaimed by Dio, this is the weakest stand out there in the show. However, if you want to sort of start like a fight club, this is the go-to stand. It starts off slow, but it builds off of emotion that people have, and just a little bit of aggressiveness would build up to, you know, major conflicts amongst groups, so much as to so that people would want to kill each other in a Mortal Kombat. So I wouldn't say this would have a real life use. I mean, if you're not into that kind of thing, like if you're not into Fight Club, then this stand would not only be useless, it might even have drawbacks. Like imagine someone started punching you with the intent of kill just because you accumulated enough aggressiveness, you know, you accumulated enough hostility amongst you, and now people are going apeshit around you, you know. So that's why I'm going to give Survivor F tier. You know, it's really not all too useful in real life, and not only is it not useful, it has its drawbacks. So definitely F trash tier, nothing more to say about that. Up next we got Underworld, a dope stand. Amongst Dio's sons, it's very hard to choose which one of the four, well, not four, which one of the three, because Rikiel, you know, self-explanatory. Amongst the three of them, which one would be the most useful IRL? I mean, I could definitely argue Jono's Gold Experience in Bohemian Rhapsody, but this also comes in very clutch, like this is very close. What it does is it manifests past memories, so just so you can relive them. Whether it's good or bad, which most of the time, if you want it to be useful, it's going to be good. You can just live off of that, just like that. Like imagine partying every day off of someone's best memory. I think it's definitely deserves its spot in S tier. Up next we got Weather Report. Now off the bat, I'm gonna put it in S tier. You can literally control the weather. You can do a whole lot of shit. You can become a global problem. Definitely a global problem, and even more so, like if you know what you're doing, which Emporio did, he used Weather Report to defeat made in heaven. Just goes to show how freaking strong this stand is. Now, I'm not saying in terms of usefulness it would be as good as resetting the universe, or just making everything pop off just off your imagination, or getting the best luck in your life, but still it is way too strong, like top of the line strong useful stand that would be to have in real life. Next up we got Whitesnake, and this is again another situational stand that I don't know how to rank, because in order for Whitesnake to be useful, you're going to need other stand users to be alive. You're going to need other stands manifested. And in a world like that, I couldn't really guarantee that you'll win every battle, even though with Whitesnake, Pucci really went against Weather Report and won, and altered his memories. This is such a dope stand that you could have, unless there's other stands that you could control. So in real life, I'd say it's a B tier. It's way too good, but the only drawback is the stands itself. The stands you're going to need to accumulate, you're going to need to catch, like Pokemons. You gotta catch them all. So aside from that sort of drawback, this is a very useful stand if you could get all the stands you need to use them. And lastly, we got Yo Mama, and I'm gonna say this is not one of Araki's best works, honestly. D tier, and the reason why it's such a bitch ass stand, it bitches out on its target. It tries to hit them from the back. It doesn't confront them, but the way it attacks its target is by using its saliva to melt them down, dissolve parts of their body. And I don't really see much of a use in real life. This is such a bitch ass stand. You know what, I'm gonna put it even down a little further, just because I really don't like this stand in general. I'm really going off bias here, but yeah, if you can find a use for such a stand, do let me know. But yeah, this was the tier of best to worst stands in Stone Ocean in terms of real life usefulness.